Guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I get into today's vlog, I got two things that I've got to mention before I get into what's going on. One, this vlog is technically going to be a three-parter. There's a lot that's happening. It's been about like a year's worth of literally drama, and I will be explaining everything in three parts. The second thing is, the last VA vlog that I did, apparently there was a problem with a Facebook group site that didn't think I should be posting anything regarding to my mom's health or any of her medical records, and that I didn't have permission from her. Well, I do now.
I had given my daughter absolute permission to put any and all of my records online.
Now, as you can see, I have permission from my mom to go ahead and release any sort of records I want and talk about whatever it is that she wants me to talk about or whatever I want to talk about. In my last vlog, I mentioned I was going to do a VA vlog, but as you can already tell from the title, this is not just about the VA. This has to do with the Air Force as well. This is about a sexual assault that happened to my mom while in the military. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but she is. She's going to tell you what happened on that day and what actions were taken.
My name is Carol Henson. I was in the U.S. Air Force between 1973 to 1979. I went to basic training for 8 weeks. From there, I went to Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois. There, I went to mechanics school, more specifically, aerospace ground equipment. I graduated top of my class, and from there, I went to my assigned base, Eglin Air Force Base, Hurlburt Field, where I worked on the flight line. While there, I was sexually assaulted by my supervisor, which was witnessed by the men in the hangar. Afterwards, I don't remember if it was the same day, the next day, or if that was a Friday, if it was a Monday. I went to my female commander. In 1974, 73 and 1974, we still had what was called a Women's Air Force, WAC. And I went to her, I told her what happened. Then she spoke to the base commander, a gentleman. Don't remember his name, he was my base commander at the time. And then I and the supervisor who assaulted me went to the base commander's office. He spoke to the supervisor, but not to me. I asked the female commander, my WAC commander, if anything had been done. I was told there was an Article 15 and that he was fined. I also was immediately reassigned to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. I was not given any written orders, and when I asked about them, they said they would follow me to Lackland. I never did get those orders, but I did go to Lackland Air Force Base, where I could no longer be a mechanic because there was no flight line. I was reassigned to the administrative division. I went to school there, graduated, and worked in crypto. Also, when I left Eglin Air Force Base, I asked about packing up and how do I go about getting there. They said, don't worry, we will pack the stuff up for you and it will follow you to Lackland, which it did. Prior to my leaving for San Antonio, Texas, Lackland Air Force Base, and before I went to the base commander's office, my supervisor is the one who sexually assaulted me and who also told me that he and I had to go to the base commander for a talk. He made me walk with him to the base commander's office, at which point my supervisor said to me, if I go down, you go down. My response to him while looking at his many stripes compared to my 2 stripes is I told him he had a lot more to lose than I did. When I left the Air Force, I chose to leave because I could no longer handle being in the Air Force. And on the way out, I was given something called a DD-214, which I read. In it, it showed my basic training. Then there was an 11-month gap between Chanute Air Force Base did not show up on there at all. Eglin Air Force Base did not show up on there at all, which created an 11-month gap. It did show the administrative specialty at Lackland and picked up from there, and nothing else was skipped. When I asked the gentleman at the time about the 11-month gap and why it did not show, my education as a mechanic did not show up, nor my station at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, he said if it's not on there, it didn't happen. I wasn't particularly concerned about it because, as I said, that was in 1979 and I had no idea what that meant. I realize now that there was a tremendous cover-up, which may be why I never got a copy of my orders, which is why it never showed my completed education at Chanute Air Force Base and my 4-month stint at Eglin Air Force Base, Hurlburt Field in the panhandle of Florida.
Now, as my mom just said, she was sexually assaulted by her supervisor, and that she was in the hangar bay with other men who were cheering him on. I don't think the Air Force would want something like this to get out, so that's why I believe that they covered this up. And I'm going to explain why I believe the Air Force covered up my mom's sexual assault. Long story short, in 2012, my mom and I went to the FDAV to file for her disability. While we were there, the gentleman at the FDAV brought up my mom's sexual assault. My mom was shocked that he even knew. Later on, my mom figured that he may have just found it in her medical records because she has been talking to a therapist about it. The gentleman at the FDAV had told my mom that she should file for this claim because it may help her financially. The gentleman explained to my mom what she would have to do, but my mom didn't want to go through it. She just couldn't talk about what had happened to her. Now, I know what sexual assault the gentleman is talking about because I grew up with that story. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. Not once has my mom ever changed this story. Now, in 2018, my mom got a call from somebody working at the regional's office. This gentleman had told my mom that there was something wrong with her disability and that she needed to come in and fix it. My mom asked what was wrong. He said that she was supposed to be on a disability regarding to the sexual assault that happened in the military. My mom told him that she knew exactly what he was talking about and she didn't want to talk about it. It was just too much for her. She could barely even talk about it in therapy. That's another reason why she's not in group therapy, which I'll explain in the next vlog. Let me be clear, my mom is on the right program, which is the VA pension. My mom was fine being on the VA pension, and she didn't want to talk about the sexual assault, but this guy didn't seem to get it. He just kept calling and calling. But I'll talk about that in my next vlog. As time went by, my mom's panic attacks, anxiety, depression, and her nightmares had gotten worse. She's already on medication for the nightmares, and they've had to increase that twice in 1 year. She's also on medication for anxiety and depression. So my mom decided to go ahead and file for the disability because she needed to see a therapist outside the VA, and that was going to cost. So on January 30th, 2019, I took my mom to the regional's office for her to file. That's a whole nother story, so I'm just going to leave that for my next vlog. So we met 2 ladies who helped my mom file for the disability. They told her that it would take about 6 weeks for them to come up with a decision. After 6 weeks, we didn't hear anything at all, so we went back to the regional's office, and they said they were very confused, that give them another 6 weeks. This went on for months. I got so fed up that I decided to take my mom to the FDAV and have them figure it out, because they're the ones who originally started my mom's disability or VA pension. And they're the ones who got my mom's pension through really quickly. I think it only took a couple weeks for it to be handled. We had letters coming in asking for proof, and we would send it to them. But they kept sending more letters to us asking for proof. It was like they were not getting the documents that we were sending to them. When it came to the FDAV, we explained everything to him. We even showed him the documents and my mom's health history, and we were still getting the runaround. Now, on one of my visits to the regional's office, one of the ladies had told me that my mom needed to be diagnosed. Hold on, my mom's already been diagnosed. She's been diagnosed years ago by the VA. She was diagnosed with depression, PTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, nightmares, and all of that is connected to the sexual assault. Why doesn't these guys have this information? They're acting like they don't have any documents or any proof whatsoever. Now let's talk about the reasons why I believe the Air Force covered up my mom's sexual assault. 1, on my mom's DD-214, there are months missing. Those months are of my mom's training in mechanics. Also, when my mom got her military records and she had noticed that those months are missing and she brought it up to the gentleman, and his response was, if it's not there, it didn't happen, that screams cover up. I have one piece of paper that shows that my mom was on her way to aerospace. That is where she got her training for mechanics. You heard my mom. They transferred her to another base without orders. They said that those orders were going to follow her, but she never saw them. Not only that, she didn't pack up her dorm. They did the packing for her. My mom was so happy to be transferred off that base. She was terrified that her supervisor was going to attack her again if she stayed there. Now, I don't remember what date this was, but when I was at regional's office, one of the ladies had told me that I need to write a statement regarding to my mom's disability, how it affected her, what I had witnessed. I've written this statement now 3 times, and I have mailed it over to regional's office like I was told to. But they seem to not be getting it. Well, I'm going to tell you what was in that statement. At a very young age, my mom has drilled into my head that if I feel uncomfortable or someone touches me inappropriately, to always talk to her or talk to my dad or talk to any of my teachers. That was one of them. The second one is when I was little, my mom has always told me never to hold her hands or feet down. One day, my mom and I were wrestling around, and my hand went over her mouth. She freaked out. The third thing are my mom's nightmares. They are so bad that she would be screaming in them. For me to get her out of that nightmare, I have to get her to stand up, look at me, and respond. If I don't do that, it doesn't work if I go up to her, shake her shoulder, tell her that she's having a nightmare, because she will respond to me, but she'll end up going back to sleep and going right back to that nightmare. She actually has to get up out of bed and move around. That's the only way. And her nightmares have gotten worse. Her doctor just upped the dosage on her medication for the nightmares. My mom's nightmares, let me rephrase that, night terrors, are so bad that when I wake her up, she gets stiff and she holds her breath. No, it's not sleep apnea, but she is so terrified. The look in her eyes, I can't explain to you. My heart breaks for her every time. No one should go through that. Another thing is that my mom cannot hold a job. She can never handle authority. It is extremely hard for her. She refuses to this day to be in a group. She cannot deal with more than one person. The more the people, the more on edge she gets. So that'd be the end of this vlog. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And not only that, if you or someone who you know has gone through a similar situation, please comment below or email me. I'd really like to hear what you have to say. Again, thanks for watching.